So, good afternoon and welcome to day 3. And while the overall theme of this festival is that of sincerity, the first quality that the mother gave us. And just to summarize, the first 4 days we explored each aspect of the mother. So we explored Maheshwari on the day 1, we explored Mahakali yesterday, and today is Mahalakshmi, right? And tomorrow is Maha Saraswati. The next 4 days, the days 5 to 8, we continue to explore one aspirational aspect of each of this mother's aspect. So we've invited today, and I'm just going to invite Nilima to give a brief introduction to our esteemed speakers here. And interestingly, all of them, the Shaktis, and each one in their life work, as I have known them, are also somewhere exploring deeply one aspect of this mother. So, no coincidence that we are here and for the dialogue.
Thank you, Sudha. So, good afternoon, everybody. We have Dr. Aarti Sharma. Dr. Aarti Sharma is the director of the Sri Aurobindo Center for Homeopathy at Sri Aurobindo Society in Pondicherry. She has been consulting homeopathy for 30 years with a keen interest in integral yoga, health and healing, and research in alternative therapies. Welcome.
Thank you.
We then have Devi Namashivayam. Devi is a social entrepreneur and manages an enterprise and an educational center for women from the Auroville bioregion. After long years of technical consulting experience in California, USA, Devi was guided by the mother to come to Auroville. She believes it is a wonderful privilege to be here as an instrument of the divine. Welcome, Devi. We have Grace. Grace learned the making of kolam patterns from her mother and the many women who came to embroider at her mother's atelier, Oro Creation, now Oro Surgeon. Grace lives in Auroville and describes kolam as lines drawn that become charms like sacred codes of life. Its geometry and created with intention to seed gods and goddesses to evoke their grace and blessings. She has researched extensively on the art of kolam and developed an integral and pedagogical method of teaching it. The kolam yoga training syllabus developed by her enables participants in understanding, implementing, and practicing the art of kolam as an integral tool of living life. Welcome, Grace. We also have Satyakam, who's just got up, but he'll be here soon, and he'll join us in the next 5 minutes. Satyakam was born in Madagascar and is by origin a Gujarati and holds the French citizenship. He visited Auroville in 1974 and stayed several months before becoming a board member of AVI France, and he was the board member for 25 years. He finally arrived in Auroville in 2010. He worked for 6 years in the housing service, 3 years in FAMC, and was the project holder for Kalpana settlement. At present, Satyakam is at the land board and at Bharat Nivas. So he'll join us soon. So, looking forward to a wonderful session. Over to you.
Thank you so much. So just to give a little bit of an understanding of Mahalakshmi. Yes. Devi? We did. And Devi needs no introduction, I guess.
Maybe you can tell once again about her, so that at least for him.
Yeah, I think when we have Devi, Devi will introduce a little bit about herself, right? But just to give a little context about Mahalakshmi, wisdom and force are not only the manifestations of the Supreme Mother, there is a subtler mystery of her nature. And without it, wisdom and force would be incomplete things, and without it, perfection would not be perfect. About them is the eternal beauty, the miracle of it, an unseizable secret of divine harmonies, the compelling magic of an irresistible universal charm and attraction that draws and holds things and forces and beings together and obliges them to meet and unite, that a hidden agenda may play from behind the wheel and make of them its rhythms and its figures. This is the power of Mahalakshmi. No aspect of divine Shakti more attractive to the heart of embodied beings. She can appear too calm and great and distant for the littleness of the earthly nature to approach or contain her. She's too swift and formidable for its weakness to bear. But all turn with joy and longing to Mahalakshmi, for she throws the spell of the intoxicating sweetness of the divine. To be close to her is a profound happiness, and to feel her within the heart to make existence a rapture and marvel. Grace, wonderful gaze, or let fall the loveliness of a smile. The soul is seized and made captive and plunged into the depths of an unfathomable bliss. Magnetic is the touch of her hands, and their occult and delicate influence refines mind, life, and the body. And where she presses her feet, course miraculous streams of an entrancing Ananda. And yet, it's not easy to meet this demand of this enchanting power or to keep her presence. Harmony and beauty of the mind and the soul, harmony and beauty of the thoughts and feelings, harmony and beauty in every outward act and movement, harmony and beauty of life and surroundings. This is the demand of Mahalakshmi. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. There's a lot more to her, and I can continue to read. But I feel that Arati, Grace, and Devi, in their aspect of their work and living this embodiment, to share from their experience what it is when we say harmony, the beauty, a necessity. Right? So, coming to you, Arati. The necessity of atmosphere of beauty and harmony. And yet, how does one create that? Because we mentioned about here the various dimensions. We just ended the paragraph of that. So what's the need for it? Yeah. What necessitates that? And is that even really necessary? And what does one look at? What does harmony mean? The presence of it, or the absence of harmony, does it bring in the presence of harmony? Mm-hmm. And when that is, how does one really create it? Yeah. So from your teachings, from your experience, from living it.
So you see that we are dealing with the lens of sincerity, that is the main theme. The first thing which is said is that we should be very sincere, only then we can really practice yoga, because if we are insincere, then nothing really makes any sense. So first we have to be very sincere. So all the questions which Sudha has posed here, with full sincerity we should ask ourselves that, is it really necessary to be harmonious? We can just do our work and let them do their work. Why is it really necessary? I come, do my job and go away. The other person comes, does his job and goes away. Why is it necessary that we should have a harmonious relationship? That is the first thing which we should ask ourselves. Then the second thing is that there are different ways of working. One can be like the four powers of the mother. One might have a very great idea, a very lofty idea and very inspiring idea. But to execute that idea, you need the passion, you need the strength, you need the power to do it. And then one can have a very good working skill, can go to the depths of the work and do it very nicely. But then this power, the power of Mahalakshmi, or her ways of working, is with harmony and beauty. It is when, just imagine a force which is there which comes and breaks you, thud, 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 this has to be done like this, like this, like this, a dictator type of a thing. you would not want to work under that type of a person. You will say that, yes, she is very good. She doesn't mean any harm, but still, it's so overpowering that I get afraid and I feel very weak in front of her. So it's better that I keep away from this person. The other is, oh, she gives fantastic ideas, but we cannot execute it. The third is like, my God, she goes on and on and on. Why do I need to really work with her? No, it is like, it is not that she is dumb, but she is taking the thing to the edge of perfection. But here the mother, in her Mahalakshmi form, what she does is that, okay, don't worry, if you are not fast, do it slowly. But you see, there is a way in which we can do it. It will be so beautiful when we do it. This is how she's trying to allure you with things. I'll give you a small example how a mother deals with a child. All those who are mothers and have children, or as we have been children, we may know this, that a mother tells you, drink a glass of milk, and the child refuses. But if it is the Mahasaraswati form of the mother, she'll come and say, please drink the milk, it is good for your health, it will give you strength, you will be strong, you will be able to do good sports, your mind will be sharp. So she's trying with the mind to get the thing done, make the child drink the milk. Whereas if the Mahakali force is there, she'll say, see, please drink the milk or I will not give you the chocolate. Very clear. So this is the way how Mahakali deals. It has to be done swiftly, dynamically, and with a full power and passion. If not, you be prepared to be punished or be prepared to be scorched by her. Whereas if Mahasaraswati is there, she'll say, no, you have to finish the milk. Whatever time you take, I'll sit with you, don't worry. Sip by sip, she'll see the child gulping the milk, making drama, seeing here, there. But Mahalakshmi, she is the most, enticing one. She'll like capture you with her charms and all that. She'll say, okay, you don't want to drink milk? Let me do an idea. I'll add chocolate to that. How's that? So immediately you feel, oh, I like chocolate, so I'll drink the milk. If you say that you don't like the chocolate, she'll say, okay, we'll make mango milkshake. We'll add ice to it. We'll add little sugar to it. So the purpose is that somehow you should be pulled in towards the divine, but with gentleness, with softness, very harmoniously. It is not by breaking and destruction, but by really pulling you towards it, inviting you to that force. That yes, and then you feel that yes, see how much the mother cares for me, how much for my good she is adding so many things to the thing. She takes care of me. So this is the role of Mahalakshmi. She gives you that feeling of comfort, she gives you that feeling of pleasure, she gives you the joy, the ananda, the delight, and very harmoniously. And it is very necessary that wherever we work, this harmony should be there. I cannot say that I'm a doctor and then I'm the great person there and the clinic is running because of me. No, the lady who cleans the floor is equally important because she keeps the space nicely. The pharmacist who distributes the medicine is equally important because if she doesn't do her work properly, I will not be able to work in peace. The force behind all this, the money, the power, what is needed to run this clinic is a must. So all the things, all the qualities have to be there. Not only they have to be there, they have to work in harmony. And then only the real manifestation can be expressed in a more beautiful form. So this is the need. It is not that its absence is what is really will create a disturbance, but if it is not there, things will not be beautiful, they will not be charming, they will not be very alluring, captivating. In Hindi it is said, hosh mein karna, that means you do with your senses. Josh mein karna, that is do it with passion, and madhosh hoke karna. You get absolutely intoxicated and inebriated by it, and then you do it. So she is the one who creates that type of a charm, that beauty, that harmony, that you feel that you should work. That is the role.
It is a beautiful, interesting perspective you give of a mother and a child, because there is an interest on a spiritual path, or when there is a collective working for that same purpose, and there is this aspect, how does one really create that for oneself and for the others? It's the need to have is not debatable. Yeah. It's a must.
Yes.
Yet the harmony can have various levels,
Yes.
right? And disharmony can come in, whether within oneself, with the other, with the environment. And we're seeing more and more examples of this. From the Mahalakshmi's perspective, how does one create this? How does one bring that into the space? What takes to sustain it
Yeah.
when there is the challenge, when there is the evocation, when there is the provocation?
Yeah. So the whole life divine summarizes this in aspect where it is said that all problems of existence are problems of harmony. So we as an individual have problems because we are, our mind, body, vital, soul, they are not really plugged together in union. That is why we go through the rifts and the sufferings in life. The same, this is not only for the individually true, but it is also true for the community or a collective work together. And very often we see that each one is trying their level best, but disharmony crops up because the ways in which we manifest ourselves and the ways in which the work has to progress, each one may be thinking in different directions. So the thing is that there has to be, first, the role of Mahakali here is that there has to be unity in diversity. If just imagine all of us are same, think in the same way and do the same things, it will be no joy, it will be just a plain thing happening, okay, there is no charm in it. But just imagine if an orchestra is there, a flute is there, the drums are there, the other instruments are there, and each one creates a different wave, a different musical wavelength. But if they are in synchronous harmony, it creates a grand orchestra. If they are in disharmony, you will feel that it is a noise and you won't like to listen to it. So it is that even if there are differences, the individualities have to be celebrated, but along with that, this diversity also has to be appreciated. There has to be unity, but not conformity. I do this and you have to do this only. It has to be that each one gets the power of expression, expresses their truth, and how we accept all those truths together and bring up the highest manifestation. This is what is the role of Mahakali in our lives and in collective harmony.
You mean Mahalakshmi?
Oh, sorry, Mahalakshmi. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so is the Mahakali force speaking to saying that we need the Mahalakshmi?
Yes, the Mahakali really marches forward, but Mahalakshmi, holds it back and lets it do it in measures and rhythmically. With Mahakali, it is like just the force bangs in. Water coming in the tap is good, but water coming as a tsunami is not good. So this is what is the difference between the Mahakali and the Mahalakshmi. Mahalakshmi does it very gently, softly. Mahakali does it like bang on. It is literally, she bangs you on your head. Hey, what? You are not understanding such small things. So this is how it is.
Thank you for setting that context. So coming to you, Grace, like what she talked about is, there was a certain element of an acceptance, but there was also an element of what she was talking was surrendering oneself to continuous refinement, right? Where we understand that it is a wave, and the wave comes and the wave goes. You might tide one wave and then there is another wave that lifts you, but that also is a wave, right? So in that sense, this line of Mahalakshmi, she refines, and refinement is required. So from your work, where you work with the subtlety of a design, to bring in the elements, to bring in that harmony into the space, what does that work or space or language look like? Because in some ways, the design speaks on the floor, but it's a journey as well that gets created through you, but yet you use your body to create that, right? And there is a refinement that is happening as you create. So one is the work, but one is what also is happening to the being in you or to you as a person.
Well, I would like us all to join in trying to feel what it is like to connect to this feeling of Mahalakshmi. So I have an exercise that I do with the students to really understand the emotional body of Mahalakshmi. And I see people are sitting quite far away. If you would like to join, come closer. You can also sit on the floor here. Then you can participate. So I invite you to put your feet on the floor, really feel your two sit bones. I'm a speaker as well, but I also like you to join me in this experience because it's very simple and it's something that you can do wherever, whenever, and you will immediately plug into Mahalakshmi's essence. And that is, the essence is the rhythm, which is our heartbeat. The beating of the heart, the inhalation, the deep exhalation, feeling where you are in your body with your feet, with your sit bones. Where is your spine? How is it waving? How are your shoulders? Can you relax them? How are you in your bilateral symmetry in the body? Are you more tilted to one side? Are you weighed down on one side? Or are you on the other side weighed down? Try and find how you can place your body in this space now, here, in balance, in symmetry, in feeling anchored to where you are now, here, with your feet grounded, with your sit bones aware, the tailbone relaxed, the pelvic floor like a big bowl, the rib cage beautifully hanging, suspended from the spine, and the skull that is quite heavy, nicely balanced on top of this beautiful vertebra that is snaking, making a beautiful soft S. And the ears are symmetrical, the jawline is symmetrical, the corners of your eyes. And then take the eyes and look at me. So you look at me, yes, thank you. You take the space horizontally and experience this space as a very wide horizon. And then very gently, like going over a bridge, you draw the two physical eyes inward. So you're closing your two physical eyes. The eyelids softly fold down like curtains, heavy down to the lower eyelids. And the two physical eyes are going to move inward, physically, muscularly move inward to the center of your skull. There, they will meet with a subtle physical eye, the pineal gland. And with all three eyes, you slide, you walk, you dive deep into looking down into your heart. Into your heart. So taking the two physical eyes, the subtle physical eye, down deep into your heart. Looking into your heart. Feeling this heart being like a big chamber. A place to anchor, a place to rest, a place to just be and listen to your breathing. There's nothing else that you need to do other than pull the eyes back down into the heart. Because the eyes are connected so much to the outer world. The eyes keep hooking onto subjects, forms, ideas. So you want now the eyes to come down, calm down, come down into the chamber of your heart, resting into your heart. Keep bringing the eyes into your heart. Breathe. Fully exhale. Feel the space of your inhalation. Feel the space and feel how the eyes get bathed. It's like a bath in which the eyes get cleansed and nourished and acknowledged and soothed and held, all in your heart chamber. And with your following exhalation, like going down a valley, you bring your eyes back out and you look again peripheral, very wide. And then look a bit to each other, see each other. How does it feel to look at each other? Do you see people more in the colors and in the rhythm of your heart energy? Can you feel how your eyes now have the possibility to perceive each other with more the heart energy? And this could be love, this could be a color. Even the colors around you could be more sharp. And this you can do whenever and wherever you are in the world. You're waiting for a bus, a train, a flight, wherever you're waiting for someone. Instead of being annoyed, instead of being angry, upset, just go inward. Bring the eyes in to the heart. Rest there. This is my Mahalakshmi practice. This is what Mahalakshmi is teaching me, to look at the world from the space of my heart. And in my kolam practice, I have also learned that the body is really our temple, and all the movements of the 4 great aspects of the mother really course through us and are really integrally giving us tools to deal with how to be in life. And on other beautiful practice that I was so fortunate to learn from all these beautiful Tamil people in Tamil Nadu. We are in Tamil Nadu, we are in India, we are not anywhere else in the world, and it's for a reason. And one of the biggest reasons that I feel is really important to look at is that in Tamil Nadu, women have taught me how to live from my heart energy. And they taught me this through the making of kolam. So when we make a kolam, we have a specific posture, which is called the kolam posture. And that is that you fold in the hip sockets, your knees are soft, and you actually release the tailbone. So nowadays, we are always seated on chairs, and we slump down, and actually our tailbone tucks in like a scared dog. But when you fold here and you release your tailbone becomes almost like a happy dog. It's seriously weird to say that, but it's really like that. So you're actually releasing the tailbone and you're lengthening the whole spine. And what happens then is when you bend a little bit more forward, your heart actually starts coming on the same plane of consciousness as your brain. Because when we are seated in a chair and we are all the time working with our brain, our heart, what does it do? It goes and slumps down into the Muladhara chakra, into the lowest basal energy sources connected to earth and survival and lust and greed and sex and all other things that are necessary and also not necessary. They are necessary for co-creation, they are necessary for continued creation. But what the heart really wants to do is wants to be acknowledged by the brain, and the brain wants to be acknowledged by the heart. So this is one of the art forms that really actively does the two. So you're going down, your heart is flowing into your brain, literally falling down. And you can see in my face how red my face becomes, because the blood from my heart flows directly into my brain. My brain is nourished by the information that is in my heart. All the cellular consciousness from my heart is flowing directly into the brain, and then I come back up and it flows back down into the heart. So there's a continuous exchange. So then I take the powder, and Sudha can hold the mic while I demonstrate. Or someone else?
Yeah, sure.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
I take my kolam powder, yeah? And with my left hand, with my left hand I hold my kolam powder. I am in a kind of a trikonasana. So I make a kona and a triangular pose. And I take my powder, and my arm becomes like a pendulum, connecting both the brain and the heart. And the heart and the brain are on one plane of consciousness. And then, so what's happening is basically The heart and the brain are feeding each other. So with the brain, which is connected to the vision board, the imagery, the thinking mind, the whole ether, connecting to also the collective consciousness, I catch the image, but with my heart energy, I bind it with the earth, I bind it with the rhythm, I bind it with the symmetry, I bind it with the unfoldment of balance and harmony. So what is in front of me and in the back of me and on the sides of me, they are all balanced out, and I am at the center. I am at the center always of this creation. And Lakshmi really wants us to tune into this balancing act. She comes and just generously gives all the support in the world as soon as you start to become aware of balancing yourself inwardly and tuning back into your heart energy and tuning back into fueling your vision board with this love energy, because she doesn't like discord, she doesn't like disharmony and all, she doesn't like people thinking badly of each other. She loves it when we think with our heart. So she always wants us to pour our heart into our mind, as it were. And the kolam practice really does that. So therefore, the kolam practice is really a practice dedicated to Lakshmi, dedicated to the whole universal forces, but mostly to Lakshmi. Because with the kolam, you want to invite Lakshmi into your home, but Lakshmi will only come to you because you create balance, because you create harmony, because you create symmetry, because you align yourself to the universal forces, because you align yourself to arranging your home in order to be able to make the kolam in the first place. So then she sees that and she says, but you are vibrating in my energy. So she is attracted to your being attractive. So this whole magnetic energy of being attractive and being attracted to, that is Mahalakshmi's energy. Like a flower that opens its heart and the bee that comes and goes to the flower, the nectar. This is the symbiotic force of Mahalakshmi's energy. Like I am attracted to something beautiful, that beautiful will nourish me with its being attractive. I attract to it, or I attract it to me, or like that. It's vice versa. There is no other way, and our whole world creation is fundamentally founded on Lakshmi's energy. There is no creation. Our love making makes the third being possible. My being attractive to, and the other attracted to me, this is Lakshmi's energy that creates this co-creation. Child is born, a concept is birthed, a work is envisioned. This is all Lakshmi's energy. So simple and so beautiful, and it's in each one of us, and we all have access to it, and there are tons and tons and tons of tools to becoming more and more Lakshmi. Just go into your heart. Practice every day this very simple exercise that I've just shared with you, and you will feel more and more how Lakshmi comes to you, and you will feel generous. It will be so easy for you to give things away because Lakshmi will give you back in abundance. Ask Sasikan how easy it becomes when you give things, how things come to you. Unexpectedly, out of the most incredible sources that you have never even envisioned of, it just comes back to you. So this whole cycle of Lakshmi, I love Lakshmi, but I am actually more Saraswati.
Well, I guess as an aspect, they are all mingled together, right?
Yes.
So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. I'm not making a kolam now.
You can make a kolam while we get the other speakers to speak.
No.
You can make a kolam there.
You can see my columns.
Yeah, just try and do that if you feel called to. But I think, Grace, for me, I think the whole sharing was beautiful because I think what you demonstrated was how harmony can happen and you create, and how in little things. You may bring that through your work of kolam, but the way you explain the body posture, the way you explain over the importance of it, the breath and the alignment. And I think the more there is an internal alignment, the more I'm open to see at spaces and to see harmony. There may be spaces where one can feel out of harmony, but rather than seeing that, oh, that's out of harmony, there is an acknowledgement, and yet then you see, what can I do to bring harmony within it? So thank you for that. I found it very, very interesting, and I love the happy dog simile, and I think that's something I'm going to be taking in. Can I get my happy dog a little bit more in the air than getting it tucked inside? But from there, I would love to, oops, sorry. Well, I'm also getting carried away by harmony. From that, what I'd like to take on is, she brought in different elements. And I think it's beautiful now for you to step in, because that's like the sunlit path, right? The path where the inner light shines and aligns to the path outside. And this is how I see it, But the elements of concord, the element of unity, the element of a glad flow, like the way I witnessed her, the delight in which she just flew. And though she says that was Saraswati, but I felt that was the harmony of her mind and her soul, her thoughts.
Of practice.
Yes.
A lot of practice.
So from that perspective, what is it, Devi, that you would feel that how does one create this sunlit path? How does one sustain it? How does one harmonize these different elements? So one is where she talked about an activity that helped her, and that activity could be in different spaces. What has been other offerings or perspectives to be able to even create, generate, and sustain it?
Thank you, Sudha, and thank you, Dr. Arati and Grace as well. Yes, it's very appropriate to move to these dimensions that you talked about, concord, unity, and glad flow, especially after the dimensions that Dr. Arati and Grace very gracefully explained. So I see the beauty as, of course, we all see the beauty as external beauty and also the inner beauty. So starting from Sri Aurobindo's writings about Mahalakshmi, like how you read in the beginning of this dialogue, there is a need for external beauty, there's a need for harmony. The beginning of all that, I think, comes from an inner beauty, an inner joy, an inner harmony. And that is really the foundation for bringing an external dimension to all these aspects. And we all know Lakshmi. For those of you who do not know, Lakshmi as a goddess in the Indian tradition is the goddess for wealth. It's material wealth and inner abundance. Although the inner abundance kind of is not seen in ceremonies, it's a lot of material wealth that's prayed for. However, the goddess Lakshmi stands for inner and outer wealth. And here, Sri Aurobindo talks of 4 forces of the Universal Mother, one force being Mahalakshmi, and he talks about Mahalakshmi, which means, it's Lakshmi and a bigger Lakshmi. That's what the word Maha means. Maha means big. So it's a big Lakshmi. That's what he talks about. And so this Mahalakshmi stands for so many things. 2 of them being beauty and harmony. And beauty could manifest in several ways, like beauty as we see in flowers for our external eyes, beauty as inner joy, and harmony again as a non-conflicting harmony with smiles, with sweetness, with charm, and also as inner harmony that we can experience within ourselves. And this experience of inner harmony and inner joy becomes the foundation for our individual aspiration and sadhana, as well as for our work in how we bring this joy and harmony in work. And for all this, I think, I believe and I experience that Auroville is abundant in experiencing, in being able to experience this joy within oneself and bringing this harmony within oneself, and also be able to bring this joy in our workspace, in our collective spaces, in wherever we are. And for all this, the receptivity that we need to have, and actually I wouldn't even say we need to have, because it's something the mother gives. It's a moment of awakening when we know that we have this receptivity, when we know that we can develop this more, and when we know that we are open to this receptivity, and that's joy in itself. And that's a moment when we know, okay, mother is working through us. And that, I feel, is a privilege that we are given in Auroville to be. And Auroville is also, I mean, for those of you who have been to Matra Mandir, that's a space where we can feel all this, the inner joy, the inner harmony, and the inner beauty, and also the external joy and the beauty and the harmony. It's really abundant in all these dimensions. And that's a place where we can really feel all this. And the flowers in the gardens. So they're all there to bring these all dimensions within us, so that we could bring this, we could become the instrument to bring these dimensions to our spaces at work and in our collective spaces. And I, like Nilima introduced me, I am a social entrepreneur, and I manage an educational center and a social enterprise. And I have learned, my background is in technical consulting, but I have quit that work long ago, and I feel like I was called by the mother to be in Auroville. And I have shared so many things with the women who come to work and learn at...
Sorry, I want to interrupt you one moment.
Yeah?
She's wearing, stand up,
Yes.
please. Come closer. And you can speak in a moment, or you
Yeah?
can keep talking. Look
Yeah.
what she's wearing.
Sure.
I'll turn you around one moment.
Okay.
She's wearing the open heart Hridaya Kamalam Kolam. This is the Hridaya Kamalam Kolam, and it's dedicated to Lakshmi. Did you know that you're wearing this?
No,
for
I didn't
Lakshmi?
plan. I didn't plan.
So this Lakshmi enacting through her. This is what Lakshmi does. She is dressed in Lakshmi's energy. This is the
Very
Hridaya
appropriate.
Kamalam, open heart. She's full of it. I couldn't help myself. So there you go. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, it's a good coincidence.
More.
Not planned at all.
Lakshmi enacting through us.
Yeah.
That's how it is. And
Sure.
it's everywhere all the time. You get awake, more and more you see it, how she works, how she is there doing little moves, putting the points in the right rhythm, the right place. Like that.
Thank you. So to continue from where I left off, I hope I have a few more minutes to finish. So in the work that I do with the women from the bioregion of Auroville, I have found there's a lot of beauty. Mother has said, you know, the people from around the villages here, they are noble, their hearts are noble, you know. So one may just read it and not know what it means. But I have in my work, because I work with them day in and day out, I really see this nobility. I do see an inherent joy in them that has somehow, you know, vanished from human beings in all over the world today because of because of the pursuits towards survival, pursuits towards material wealth, pursuits towards other things, that innate joy and the inherent beauty is somehow lost in human beings. Not to generalize, of course, we are all in different ways trying to find that inner joy. But I'm just saying, because I've lived in different parts of the world and then I have also visited, there is something in the people in the villages that I really learn a lot from, and that simplicity and the beauty that comes, that is what I really cherish. And there is a lot of things that I share with them that probably they do not know. They are either uneducated or semi-educated. But the love that comes from them, the inner beauty that comes from them, is something that is not matched. And when I came to work there, I did not plan that was the work that I was going to do when I arrived in Auroville. But when I started working there, when I had done my work for a few years, running a center that was going to be closed, but reviving it, and then after having gone through it for a few years, that's when I found it was a privilege for me to be in that place, and privilege to be an instrument of the divine. And that joy that comes from knowing that, and to be open to that grace and divine energy, and to be able to share that in our collective spaces, at work and with everybody else, learning as much as I can share, that brings joy and beauty. And the work we do is a lot of handwork, a lot of hand embroidery, a lot of hand crochet, and there's beauty in that work as well. So we have this privilege of being able to collectively aspire, individually and collectively aspire for beauty and harmony within ourselves, and also in our external environment, where our work is all about beauty and harmony. And we take a lot of inspiration from flowers, from the natural environment, from the Matra Mandir, which itself is so beautiful and joyful. And like I said, going to the foundation of all this is just that we have to open ourselves to the force of the Mother, to be receptive in order to receive all that she can give us, and to be beautiful and to be harmonious within ourselves and in the work that we do and in the collective.
Thank you, Devi. So it's, what I'm left with one thought, like when I look at the development outside, it's in the name of progress and development, a lot of that is getting compromised. So coming to you, Satyakam, because I think it's a beautiful segue to the last point, that is, progress is inevitable, development is inevitable. Yet, how does one hold the core elements of harmony and beauty? Because we are saying that it's a necessity for the right growth and the development. So in that sense, how does one bring in the charm, the sweetness, and especially when the life is aspiring to be divine? So how does one even create a space? And given that you were a project holder of one of the communities here, what was that journey like for? Because I've heard every one of them saying, being open to the Mother, to the guidance. And yet, it depends on what stage we are and how much do we really listen to, right? How does one maintain that discernment and knowing that that is what it is? So in your work, in your experience, and in your own personal life, having been through different spaces, and that while you are a gentleman out over here, believing that you are also the essence of holding Mahalakshmi. How has this journey been for you? What can you share from your experience of building and contribution? What's the role of charmness and sweetness, and bringing in an element to create a life that aspires for divinity and to being divine?
Yeah, so, actually, I thank very much all of you because of the beautiful words you said about the divinities and the influence in your life. And I think this is the fundamental aspect, actually, that the very fact that we are on this earth, we are surrounded also by a wonderful beauty. It can be the beauty, natural beauty. Everywhere we go, we can see the sceneries, the beauty of the nature, the beauty of the mountain, the beauty of the sea. Everywhere we see something absolutely fantastic in the countries where I lived, for example, Madagascar, and the surrounding countries around Madagascar, La Réunion Island, Mauritius, East Africa, South Africa. Then, at the same time, also the discovery of the aesthetic of created by these places. And we say, for example, that the African art is considered in French as the art premier, the first art, from where all the other art have been inspired. And you know, when you discover that, when you feel that, when you enjoy that, and you get inspiration from that, it is something so beautiful. It's a I cannot maybe reply directly to your question, but we receive lots of beauties from wherever we are, and of course the beauties of the human beings, as you mentioned, Tamil Nadu, and the beauty about women and the population of Tamil Nadu. So similarly, I discovered this also in Africa, in Madagascar. How gentle, how generous, how creative they are in what they do. And then coming to Europe, Europe also has its own aesthetic, and the aesthetic is something very important, I think, to feel also happy in the place where we are. I think we all agree with this, because the history shows us wherever we went, actually, the history has created the most beautiful architectures, the most beautiful gardens, the most beautiful environment, and in all the continents. And then coming to India is for me, it is the sort of apotheose, because the beauty which is visible here in India in terms of these ancient architectures are absolutely mind-blowing. We wonder how it has been created. It is so magnificent, it is so grand. Technically, there are mysteries about how we have been able to build this. When we look at the Indian temples, and especially in the south of India. It comes to the fact that when you are surrounded by all these diversity of population, diversity of culture, diversity in the beauty which was created by the human beings, naturally, one feel that we have to continue the work. It is imbibed in us. Actually, a human being is a social being. Human being has to share. This is the fundamental what we all need to learn. Sometimes the reality is also, unfortunately, difficult. Many people don't understand about the absolute necessity to share. And then discovering India is one thing, and discovering Auroville is totally something absolutely wonderful also. That was the absolute revelation about the place where we can express all these qualities. Actually, Mother has invited us here to build the ideal city and ideal society. So this is the most beautiful gift given to all of us, to participate in it. This is something so fantastic. And this is what I always consider, that the discovery of Auroville and discovery of Mother Sancho Aurobindo's writing and teaching within bracket, was the inspiration for absolutely everything. In my personal life, everything was always inspired by what mothers was telling about perfection, about beauty, about sincerity. And it guides us all the time. And from wherever you are. And when you follow these principles and when you feel it within you, you are happy. And you share the happiness. That's what I can say.
So what I hear from you is that there are the guiding principles. And how do we keep them alive, and how do we live that to the best of our abilities, but also being open to being guided, being refined, being chaffed, being polished, and yet somewhere to see the harmony and the beauty within and out, and to be able to listen to that voice. That's what I'm being left with. But I'm also curious to just see is that we've talked about appreciation of everything, but what is that one practice that each one of you has where you are harmonizing, or where you are living up to being able to harmonize, to create this beauty in your own personal lives, or maybe in your workspace? And what could you share from your thing? What is that one practice that you unfailingly say, no, this is what brings in the element of Mahalakshmi. This brings in the lens and the perspective for me to see beauty. And when I'm not there, I bring that practice, I bring that awareness into the fore so that I'm able to ground myself into it. Anything that you may like to share?
I can start a little
sure.
bit. Actually, what you are asking and what you are telling, and the qualities we mentioned about sharing and generosity, and when I said that Auroville is the most beautiful place, because we have been given all these possibility to live and to practice. So when you say, for example, in your personal life, but that could be either here or somewhere else, but especially in Auroville, wherever you go, our attitude is that we have to, for example, I've worked in administration, let us say, of housing service. So the sense of a service, the sense of helping, the sense of sharing is what guides me personally. And this is what gives the joy, because we have been able to do something for our city, for our people. And at the same time, the possibility I had to become a project holder, again, it was a chance with the help of the architects, but as a project holder, when we give the brief and the philosophy of a project, all these aspects about the beauty and the fundamental aspect that when you create an architecture, you have to think, imagine, and be absolutely sure that the human beings who will live in this place will be happy. That is fundamental. So the aesthetic part is something, for me, very important, and to be surrounded by element of beauty. So in my personal life, we put in practice what we feel within us.
Thank you.
So maybe you can share also.
Devi.
So I think it's a journey that we are going through, and I wouldn't say any practice of mine or in the things that we try to do at my workplace, they're all bringing us towards a perfect harmony or perfect beauty or perfect joy. But what I can share is, the things that we do to be in this journey. So personally, I think it's to be present in the moment and see the different things that Sri Aurobindo talks about, all the different things of selfishness, hatred, and all the things that are not light by Mahalakshmi, as we are talking about Mahalakshmi. So when these things come, to know that it's not the qualities that we need, and to be able to reject that and come back to a center, so that we can act from that better. So this is more of the aim and more of the aspiration, but then it's a journey. But I would say personally to come back to the center and find that joy, so that I can continue without being in a space that's disharmonious. That's what I do.
Thank you.
So for me it is very interesting because I deal with human beings all the time. Human beings who are suffering, because I'm a doctor, so they come and tell their sufferings to me. And invariably when people are in pain and suffering, they are on a different mode or status. They would create more, there is some disharmony within them. And when they come into a place, they might also get irritated. Why the line is not going fast? What is the doctor doing sitting inside? Why so many people is there? No, my appointment was there. I deal with this almost every day. So how do I deal with it, or how do I get my poise back, or how can I bring that beauty and joy and delight in working? It can be quite toll-taking when you are constantly hearing only bad things, right? I'm suffering from this, I have that. So the practice which I have been introduced to in the ashram and which I practice for myself is that I always call the mother. Keep on calling her ma, ma, ma. So that is the aspiration. First you call her. The second is that anything which comes in between, like, oh, why is this person like this? The moment that thought comes, reject. Whenever you start being judgmental, or whenever you are trying to be very harsh towards that person, I try to reject that. And then finally it is that, okay, the person has come, I am here and I have to do my work. It is the mother I have called. I am not putting my ego or my desire or my judgments into picture, but just surrender to it and take the work forward. That is how I do it. Sometimes I go beautifully through it. Sometimes, as they say, disharmonies are there. But I have that hope and sincerity that yes, if I see there is a discord, I accept it and I sincerely give my best to remove that disharmony within me and in the space which I am living. So aspiration, rejection, surrender, calling ma, ma, ma is what is the practice which I follow. Beyond that, I don't know anything. Beyond that, I don't think anything else is needed.
Thank you. And Grace?
Repetition, a repetition of cleansing the space, inwardly calling upon any form that connects you to something that's higher than yourself. And it's like uttering the word Om. If you utter it just one time, it may just be a nice sound, but if you say it many times and you go Om, 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 it starts to grow and become larger and larger, and it becomes, wider and wider, and you have more and more the feeling that it envelopes everything in space. So also my broom does that. When I'm brooming the room, when I'm brooming the garden, and Sasikan looks at me because I'm always cleaning. But it is the removing of obstacles, also in the subtle physical. It's not only in the physical. It's also cleansing the mind and emptying out. It's also making space for the new. And it's that repetitive gesture of everyday gestures in life. And they're very simple. They're not complicated. We all do them already. But if we start becoming more conscious of them and we start calling in more and more the elements of light and love and joy, they become more a vehicle. These gestures become more a vehicle to invite that harmony, that balance, that beauty. And it's really through the repetition. It's not just by doing it one time. You have to repeat it again and again. It's like polishing something. When there's dust on the table, you polish it. And you do it again. And it starts to shine. It's like the matter starts to speak. It's like the matter is being acknowledged by your energy. It's like you're giving acknowledgement to the other. You will fall apart if I don't love you. You know? I will fall apart if I'm not loved. They have proven scientifically that if you do not caress a child in its youth, this child will not be able to harmoniously develop its faculties. It will have even mental retardation and cognitive retardation and disabilities in even just doing simple tasks in life. So the acknowledgement and the rhythm and the repetition and the joy and the love,
Thank you
they
so
all
much.
add for the healing, no? Yeah.
Thank you so much, and I think it's beautiful. I have. So I was bringing it to a wrap because I've also got the cue that I need to wrap it up.
Just so before you wrap, something to add also about the fact to be being in Auroville. When I said it is an extraordinary chance for all of us to be here, for the reason that our destiny is also in our hand. So there are the two possibilities. One is the mother's creation, mother's vision, which is existing and which is calling on earth, and we are the instrument to manifest it. So this is something absolutely great, so beautiful to be part of it. And because we speak about prosperity, generosity, if at all we are able to understand that and listen to that, I mean,
Sure.
Auroville is and will become what Mother wanted. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. Does anybody from the audience have a question or a remark, or I can just wrap it up? Okay.
So I will add something here. So as he has been talking about Auroville, and we have the Matra Mandir in the center, and then we have the different petals, meditation room, the gardens, and what is all this symbolizing? That if we really want to go to the deeper aspect of the divine, the supreme, and live in her abode or in her mandir, then all those gardens which are there, those are the qualities which we should embody ourselves. First, we should have courage, and it starts with sincerity. Sincerity, courage, generosity, perseverance, goodwill, all these things have to be embodied by us. That is the real essence of having this Matra Mandir as a creation. Only if this creation is there to remind us constantly that this is the vision, that if you have all these qualities within you, only then you can enter the chamber of the divine. And that is why the mother symbol is so important. All of us very often wear it as a ornament or a jewelry or keep it as a blessing for us. But it is constant reminder that these qualities have to be developed so that all the four powers of the mother can become active in us, and thereby we can reach the supreme delight, the Sat Chit Anand, where Sri Aurobindo says, Om Anandamai Chaitanyamai Satyamai Parme. So all opposites are preparing for her harmony. Her single clasp will take away all our pains. We are all groping towards that knowledge, and we are all having that passion that we should reach there. That is what is the purpose of all this 8 days festival which we are having. This is a time when the celebrations have to be done, and in that celebration we have to become aware of what we are having over here, the gratitude, and how we can imbibe these qualities so that a collective harmony which she really wanted, not only in this place, Auroville, but throughout the universe, how we can bring this harmony amongst ourselves with the nature. This is what is the purpose, I feel. Yeah.
Thank you for the reminder, and I think it's on that note, thank you so much for each one of you, and especially the sharing of the practices, because I think they are the essentials, the fundamentals of people who live here can I make them happy, or how I can create a space, or the fact coming into this moment, the present moment, and connect to what gives me joy, and therefore allowing every expression and engagement as an expression of that. Or your practice, yes, as a doctor you listen to it, how even in that can I create that moments and build on it. And I love the analogy of the brooming, that's another one. So how do I continuously engage in brooming within and out to bring in that space and room for harmony, for beauty? Because I think somewhere in that there is a direct grace, the direct power of Mahalakshmi to flow through. And that may be how we speak, how we act, how we think, how we feel, also divinizes. And maybe in that, the divinity comes aboard in abundance. So thank you so much. Very interesting, very practical, and I think very useful of how each in our way are integralizing this and how do we bring that alive. So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Yes, a small...
Mahalakshmi is at work. You're getting gifts.
A small token of appreciation.